No turning back now.
This is Fire Talk Radio Podcast, and you can check us out on firetalkradio.com. You can email us at firetalknetwork@gmail.com. You can send us a voicemail at 814-380-9820. You can always check us out live on YouTube and Rumble. Hit the like and subscribe button to find out when we go live, and subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting and streaming platform. Ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, children of all ages, Fire Talk Radio proudly brings to you episode 60. Tonight, we are going to talk about the debt ceiling and see where we're at with it. We're going to look at Joe Biden and his documents, the Declaration of North America, and much more. This and more on Fire Talk Radio.
I can only count to four. I can only count to four. I can only count to four. I can only count to...
Hello.
What up, everybody?
We're back again.
The
world
we
hasn't
would have been
burned
here
yet.
Friday due to scheduling conflict. We had to do it today. So
Yeah, and it'll be the same next week because it's wrestling season. I've got tournaments on Saturdays, and sometimes I have tournaments on Fridays. So this Friday I've got another tournament coming up, which means that I have to coach a tournament. Oh, so last Friday. Okay. The tournament was an hour away, so I had to drive an hour there to get to the tournament. Tournament got over pretty close to midnight. I had to drive an hour back home. Then I had to be at the next tournament at 6 o'clock in the morning, which was an hour away, and in the opposite direction. So I'm like, man, I'm tired of these long drives, and I hope this Fridays doesn't go that late.
yeah, long drives will do it. I mean, my kid's in a cheer program, so her competitions are coming up here soon. So luckily for me, they're on Saturdays, so
Most of our tournaments are on Saturdays, but we have some tournaments on Fridays. And last week and this week, we have a tournament on both Friday and Saturday.
fun. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really not looking forward to any of hers because I have to drive her because my wife can't fucking drive outside of where we live because she'll get lost, even with a GPS.
I was going to say, that's what Google Maps is for.
Even with a GPS. She doesn't do highways well. And
Okay.
that's that. But yeah, it's been a week. We have this show coming up the next week, and then we have a special guest come in on the first show of February, on February 3rd. So it'll be Sarah from the Shipwreck Show. She's gonna come and join us. I've been kind of double checking because she was supposed to be on for the episode of the 13th, but luckily for us, she double booked herself. But I was like, yeah, I don't care. We can push it. We pushed it out, and it kind of worked out for us because your schedule had it come to fruition then. So all is good. So guys, you're gonna want to check that one out. That one's gonna be entertaining. I love going to her afternoon show. She does a nooner because her kids are in basketball, and so she can't do evening shows half the time. So she does nooners, and they're absolutely entertaining to watch while I'm at work, sitting here doing nothing.
And she broadcasts live on YouTube, right? That's where you watch it?
YouTube, Twitch, and Rumble.
Okay.
Same as us. We're live on all three currently.
Okay. Perfect.
So if you're checking us out, that's where to find us. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. I'm throwing all that stuff. I'm also working with a group called Cassius Media. The guy's a really good friend of mine, and he's going to help us out with our social media and everything else. So if you get a chance, you want to look at some audio stuff or social media, video editing or anything like that, check out
And they even do
Cassius Media.
podcast editing. If you want to get into podcasts and don't want to do like we do, where you do everything yourself, you can hire it out.
Yeah. So CassiusMedia.com. Just Google them. I'll actually put the link in our show notes. You click and check them out. So what a fucking week it's been. It's been a week in Biden's world.
Yes.
It's funny that two of the stories that I've talked about, the Declaration of North America, and then at the same time, the announcement of, oh, we found top secret documents, all happened at the same fucking time.
Oh God, the top secret documents. We got to talk about that first.
Oh yeah, we can get there.
That's one that I'm sorry, it's so hilarious. We have a clip that we'll play of Biden talking about that, but what was it? 3 months ago, 2 months ago?
So the pattern, it was right before the election when they found the first set of documents. And then the second one was like mid-December, near the end of December. And then like the third and fourth and fifth just happened literally within the second week of January.
Right. And this is from a guy who over the summer said, you know, anybody that takes top secret documents outside of a top secret facility should not be trusted with them types of documents. Mind you, he said it himself over the summer in reference to Trump. But now that it's coming out on him, that's the funny part of this. You know what? I've come to the conclusion politics is nothing more than a clown show.
We're gonna get into the. I have a few theories, and so this is gonna be like the long part. So we're gonna do the long part first. All right, so I'll just bring this one up because this one is a. Well, you want to play your video? You want to play the video first?
Yeah. I'll play the video. This is Peter Ducey questioning Biden on his documents.
Classified material next to your Corvette. What were you thinking?
Let me, I'm going to get a chance to speak on all this, God willing, soon. But as I said earlier this week, people, and by the way, my Corvette's in a locked garage. Okay. So it's not like you're sitting out in the street.
So
But anyway.
was in a locked garage.
Didn't he also say that Trump's being in a locked closet wasn't secure enough?
Trump's stuff was in a locked office.
A locked closet in a locked office.
Well, yes. So Trump. So remember, we talked about this over the summer when his is found. We found out the National Archive and the FBI came out. They inspected the door documents were in because the Social Secret Service was actually standing guard in front of the door. We found out. They said, "Hey, lock on there is not up to code. You need this lock,
right,
to be put on the door." And then all is good.
Now, the other part to this that we're going to talk a little bit more about after is Trump was the president, meaning he could declassify anything. Biden's was when he was vice president, and he couldn't declassify.
Oh yeah,
shit.
I have questions about that, and then I have theories, and because we talked about this earlier today, and it kind of fucking brought the scope of my thought process a little further in.
Okay.
So it's gonna be something.
Yes, as well as my Corvette. But as I said earlier this week, people know I take classified documents and classified material seriously. I also said we're cooperating fully and completely with the Justice Department's review. As part of that process, my lawyers reviewed other places where documents from my time as vice president were stored, and they finished the review last night. They discovered a small number of documents of classified markings in storage areas and file cabinets in my home and my personal library. This was done in the case of the Biden-Penn. This was done in the case of the Biden-Penn Center. The Department of Justice was immediately, as was done.
Look at it, his lack of eyes. He never takes his eyes off of the paper.
I still
the
think he's
pre-written answer to this. He doesn't even look up. He just reads it like a sixth grader reading a report.
Oh yeah.
Done. The Department of Justice was immediately notified, and the lawyers arranged for the Department of Justice to take possession of the document. So we're going to see all this unfold. I'm confident.
All right. So
that's from @Newsweek on TikTok.
All right. So first set documents again was found in November at the Biden Penn Center in DC,
Washington, D.C.
at a think tank. If you follow the money, that think tank was given money by Chinese investors anonymously. Like they don't say exactly fact. But then you find out Biden was also, his salary while being there was $1 million a year at a think tank.
Right.
The documents were in a closet that wasn't locked. Well, if it had a lock, it wasn't a, oh my God, lock.
They had like one of them master locks like you put on your locker at school that somebody can just pull really hard. And
yeah, right. They didn't realize here is my issue with this, where everyone's failing to get the grasp of. Yes. In 2013, Obama signed an EO saying that the president and vice president is allowed to have in possession top secret documents. But the level of classification for declassification documents is a process from the vice president down. The president has ultimate authority over what can be declassified per that executive order.
So basically, because of that, it doesn't say what the process is for the president to declassify.
It says he has the ultimate say in what is declassified.
Right, but what I'm saying is and that's the big arguments back and forth with Trump, because literally Trump could have like waved his hand and said these are all declassified, like these are not.
Well, that was the theory. A lot of people said that's what he said to the National. I am declassifying these and I'm taking it.
And then we played people on the other side saying no, he can't do it that way, and he has to fill out a form and let them know. There's nothing that says it. Literally doesn't say.
So that because we played a video where someone from the National Archive back in August, and I can't find the video, is actually scrubbed from YouTube, which is fucking weird. It's saying, hey, he may have declassified these when he left. We found out what these documents were and then reclassified them by the time he made it to Mar-a-Lago.
Right. After he declassified them and then Biden got into office and was sworn in, then they reclassified them without notifying.
Yeah. So it was in a way, it looks like it's a case of entrapment on that. Trump was never notified that these documents were reclassified, there was litigation going on between Trump team, National Archive, figuring out what the hell was going on. Did Trump do some things that he should not have done? Yeah, he shouldn't have torn up some of them. He should have just left them all be.
Well, and the other part is
the FBI had gone in there and fucking scattered everything on the floor and take photos of it? Absolutely not. But the thing is, the National Archive unit and the administration and the Trump administration were working, trying to we're in litigation over said documents.
Right.
And so that was the thing. They couldn't wait for the litigation to finish.
The other part with Trump is, when you look at all of these network TV hosts and stuff that make it sound like Trump had, the secret codes for the nuclear codes that he was going to sell. And anybody that knows Trump knows anybody that knows Trump basically knows he went, I like that document. It has my signature on it. I like that document because I said
I got a
something mean
love
to
letter
Kim
from
Jong Un.
Kim Jong Un.
I'm keeping it. Like that's what he kept.
God knows what it was. Do I give a shit? Absolutely not. But here's my thing. So Joe Biden took documents while he was in vice presidency, and when he left to the Penn Center, he is saying that his aides misboxed said folders. Okay. But the thing is, you were at the Penn Center for God knows how long with said documents, and you knew they were top secret, but yet they were in your possession. One, those documents, they were supposedly about information about Ukraine, England, and a couple other countries. So the thing is that the incumbent president was unaware of what you all were doing and what these folders were about. So the current president coming in had no idea what the previous administration was doing. So when they talk about the process of the transition of power from one to another, how is that a transition of power if you're hiding shit from one presidency to another? One, I have a fucking list of questions here in front of me. I'm trying to figure all this out. As we said, the vice president has no power to self-declassify anything. He never went through the process, because that was what Hillary got in trouble for when she used her own fucking server. 30,000 emails just went.
She got a verbal talking to. I don't know about in trouble. You literally had James Comey saying, well, she didn't mean to do anything bad, so we're not going to. I wish I could use that as a defense.
Fuck him. My thing is that these documents were missing for 6+ years before anybody even called them out.
Right.
Why didn't the National Archives know they were missing?
Right.
So the National Archives were all over Trump about documents, but yet you couldn't have gotten the documents that you were supposed to get from the previous administration first.
Well, so there's a couple other parts to it too. Trump had his documents essentially in his possession the whole time. They were in his office, on his estate, in his
and
locked office.
Mar-a-Lago is a fortress in its own right.
Right, exactly. Biden has these documents scattered, and we don't even know if they were ever in his actual possession. So outside of him carrying them off the White House.
So that was another thing. So then there was issues with the documents being in his home. You got the ones in his garage just sitting there.
Next to his Corvette that he now claims is locked.
Oh, it's going to get weirder in a second. So that he had ones in his office. You do realize while when Hunter Biden was living there, he was paying Joe Biden almost $50,000 a month in rent.
Yes.
In his memoir, in Hunter Biden's memoir, he goes and talks about how he used to hang out all the time in the garage while he was getting high while watching Battlestar Galactica. And who the fuck would watch that is beyond me.
You have to be high to watch that, honestly. And I'm a sci-fi nerd. You are too. You're wearing a Star Wars shirt.
Star Wars and Battlestar Galactica, two different fucking things.
What I'm saying is we're sci-fi nerds, and even that.
So my thing is that there is Joe Biden's estate, and Mar-a-Lago has a logbook of who comes in and out of that facility. One, who knows who goes in and out of Joe Biden's house?
While his son is doing blow off of these documents.
Right. So as I do during my job while I wait for to do this or get stuff together, I hang out in the shipwreck show in the afternoon. And there's a theory that this is all a plant by Hunter Biden. Think about it.
I'm trying to figure
I'll
out what
line
the
this
end
up
game
for
would
you.
be. Yeah,
I'll
tell me the end game.
I'll line this up for you. Hunter Biden right now is in Florida, surrounded by security, by a private security, keeping him safe, right? Okay. Think about that. Hunter Biden's memoir, he got married in May of, was it 2000? I forgot what year it was. So I think it's 2019. I'll double check that in a second. But a month before that, that magic laptop got dropped off.
Right.
Okay. And it's slowly been leaking out. Hunter Biden has a grudge in his memoir, has a grudge against Jill Biden.
Jill?
Doesn't like her
Okay.
at all. So, as things have progressed, everything is looking like Hunter Biden is the full-on scapegoat for Joe Biden's plan. Because remember, everything is in Hunter's name.
Right.
Right? What if that private security in Florida is actually the FBI because he's in witness protection? Because he
knows too much.
He knows too much. One, but he's incriminating the new first family of the White House. Because right now, if you've noticed, everything that's coming out, his laptop, and then you have the hackers that from 4chan cracked his phone using the iCloud service, got all those text messages and all those emails and everything.
And pictures of him with hookers.
Yeah. So why couldn't it? Why could not Hunter Biden actually be the downfall to Joe Biden? Like, he's had enough. He's finally saying, I've had enough of my father's shenanigans. And the thing is, so everyone that's behind Joe Biden is trying to play off like, oh, this is Russian disinformation, or no, this is bullshit, blah, blah, blah. This is just a plant from the Republican Party. Joe Bayard went on The View and said, oh, this is could be a plant. Like, it's great timing. That's a fucking plant.
Right. Okay.
But my thing is that we all know how I love to run down the rabbit hole, and I'll run down the rabbit hole as much as I can get the information from, and I'll think about it. Because anytime they say this could be a conspiracy theory, it's almost like, oh, I got something else I could probably prove that's right.
Or just, oh, this is a conspiracy theory. Just give me 6 months.
Right? Because the thing is, like, you never know. And the thing is, I'm running out of fucking conspiracy theories. But I wonder if the Democrats, because the way they're talking about this, that they're not going to go for Amendment 25 now.
Right.
Because Joe Biden's got to the point to where he may not be able to win his second term because of all the bullshit that he's pulling. And they already know Kamala isn't favorable either.
She's less favorable than Hillary Clinton was.
Oh, yeah. She didn't even make it out of what is it? Super Tuesday.
Nope.
She didn't even make it past that.
Nope. Tulsi Gabbard made it further.
We're gonna watch this. I'm gonna watch this play out. Biden. We have other things to go over about this, but like in a nutshell, I ultimately think Joe Biden may have just put his final nail in the coffin with all of this.
So I'm leery to say final nail because honestly, I don't put anything against Democrats just supporting themselves against anything.
Chuck Schumer was like, he wasn't like, remember how Chuck Schumer was when Trump had documents. He was like, let's hang him by his blah blah blah.
Yeah, hang him by his scrotum if we could. Yeah.
And now he all of a sudden he goes, let's see how top secret these documents. I'm like, huh? And then you have Don Lemon from CNN going, that's not how you were 6 months ago when Trump has the same issue. Oh, no, that's not what I said. No, motherfucker, that's exactly what you said.
Right. And it's amazing because we have this thing called the internet that generally remembers what you said. Like, you can't claim I didn't say something anymore. Somehow they can twist and turn what you say and nobody will look it up what the reality is, but you can't claim I didn't say something because it's easy to find.
But I had something here. I'm trying to pull everything together because God, my ultimate thing is with. Hold on, I gotta find it. Have you seen the video about Joe Biden's first husband?
Possibly.
It just recently came out.
Oh, then no.
All right. So let's do that. It happened last year, but it's been coming back up to bite. All right.
No audio.
Was there no volume?
There's no audio coming through.
All right. Oops. I forgot to hit.
You forgot the check mark, didn't you?
I forgot to. They fucking changed things around on here. It's fucking losing my mind here.
Well, tonight, an exclusive interview with a man who claims he had a secret affair with the first wife of real estate heir Robert Durst just days before her disappearance, and his connection to the White House.
Senior investigative reporter Tara Rosenblum brings us the story you'll see only on 12.
For decades, you've seen their faces and heard their story in countless movies.
That is not the one I was looking for. I grabbed the wrong one. Give me a second. No. All right. Where'd it go? We can continue talking about it.
So no, I am not familiar with that though.
Oh, found it. Now we go. There we go. God damn it. Fucking feel like a scrub now.
And his wife, Jill, recently celebrated their 43rd wedding anniversary. But before Joe, there was Bill, the man Jill Biden married when she was only 18. Now her ex-husband is speaking with Stephen Fabian in this exclusive television interview.
It's going to hurt her. Yeah, it's going to break her heart.
He's the ex-husband of Dr. Jill Biden, the widely admired woman who's been at Joe Biden's side for 43 years. And he has an eye-opening story to tell.
I was betrayed by the Bidens. Joe was my friend. Joe was my wife.
The Bidens' love story is now legend. How they found true love after the heartbreak of losing his wife Nelia and baby daughter in a car crash in December 1972. They even put their tale of romance front and center at the Democratic convention last month.
When I met Jill, I fell in love with her when I saw her.
As Joe Biden tells the story, he first saw Jill's photo on an advertisement in Wilmington, Delaware in March 19.
Don't get me wrong. Joe Biden as a young person,
Yeah.
not that bad looking. He's very
she's
easy.
kind of hot back then.
1975. His brother Frank, who knew the model from college,
Joe Biden's still going bald.
set
Yeah.
you up.
Hey,
on
wait a
blind
minute.
date the
I was
following
going bald
night.
in my
Biden
20s.
His love story reads like a classic fairy tale. They saw a movie together on that blind date, fell in love, and never looked back. But Jill Biden's ex-husband says there's much more to the story, claiming Jill and Joe's relationship actually started in 1974 when he was still married to Jill. It was a blind date, point blank. Is that story true?
No, not even a little bit.
Bill Stevenson, the founder of a popular local rock music venue called the Stone Balloon, married Jill when she was just 18 years old.
Jill I met on the beach in Ocean City, New Jersey in August of 1969. Sure, I fell in love with her because I married her 6 months later.
In her memoir, Jill says of her first marriage, "I truly believed we were destined for each other. Looking back, it may seem like a mistake of youth." According to Bill Stevenson, both he and Jill first got to know Joe Biden when Biden was a county councilman in Newcastle, Delaware. Stevenson asked his help obtaining a liquor license. So you were friends with Joe Biden?
Oh, yeah. Not only that, I threw a fundraiser for him in August, raised between $2,500 and $3,000. We got married in 70. I introduced Joe to Jill in 72. Right before the election in 72, Jill, Joe, Nelia, and I were in his kitchen. How do you forget that?
That would be 3 years before that now famous blind date. Stevenson says his first inkling something was up came when Jill refused to go with him to meet Bruce Springsteen, who was booked to appear at the Stone Balloon.
Who would want to miss meeting
In the
Bruce
70s,
Springsteen?
at like the height of him? No.
Good God.
He said, Jill asked me to keep an eye on the boys. And I just thought to the back of my mind,
Then one day, he says a man came into his bar and asked him to pay damages for a fender bender that involved Jill.
He looks at me and he says, oh, she wasn't driving. I said, her beloved Corvette, she wasn't driving it? He goes, Senator Biden was driving it. And I went, what?
Wow.
So real quick. So the question is that the Corvette that is in Joe Biden's garage? Is it actually Jill Biden's Corvette?
Possibly. I don't know.
Did you confront Jill at the time and say, what's going on here?
Yes, I did.
Did she admit to it?
She didn't say anything. She just looked at me. I said, you got to go. You got to go get your own place.
Jill and Stevenson's divorce decree was issued in May 1975. He says the divorce became contentious when Jill asked for a share of the Stone Balloon, which he says the judge denied. In the years following the divorce, Stevenson was convicted on a federal fraud charge and was also sentenced to 6 years probation for passing bad checks. He blames his legal problems on politics.
Wow. Yeah. Piss off Joe
the
Biden.
senator. Yeah.
It's
Just
just
funny that both of them are federal crimes.
And is considering publishing it. We're talking about decades and decades ago. The story comes out right before the election. A lot of people are going to ask some questions.
It's years ago, but guess what? It's so current right now because he is picking on people about character.
Has anybody from the Republican Party reached out to you to tell your story, to come out to tell these things about Joe Biden, to speak out against him?
Nothing. Not even a little bit.
Dr. Jill Biden is denying her ex-husband's claims today. In a statement to Inside Edition, her spokesman says these claims are fictitious, seemingly to sell and promote a book. The relationship of Joe and Jill Biden is well documented. Jill Biden separated from her first husband irreconcilably in the fall of 1974 and moved out of their marital home. Joe and Jill Biden had their first date in March of 1975, and they married in June of 1977. Stevenson has been married to his second wife, Linda, for 34 years. He insists he isn't out for revenge.
Listen, I've said from the very beginning, I have no hard feelings about Joe, Jill, the affair. It means nothing to me now. Everybody's saying, Bill, you're being so mean bringing this up now. But if I don't do it now, it's never going to be able to be brought up.
Stevenson.
So you notice he said affair.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was an affair.
Because Joe Biden's first wife was not dead yet when they met.
It was
remember,
an affair on him with his wife, and then it was an affair on her with her husband, because both of them were married when they started, according to this guy.
So, yeah, so he wasn't dating Joe Biden's ex-wife. No, they were friends in a circle. They were a circle of friends.
Right.
Joe Biden, at that time, whatever her last name was, is the one that was having an affair with Joe Biden before his wife passed away in the car accident.
Right.
So that's where the rumor thought of Joe Biden had something to do with his ex-wife's passing, or deceased wife's passing. It's I'm not saying that actually happened or refuted or whatsoever. It's already, quote, been refuted that that's not what happened. Car was T-boned. She rolled through the corner. The police report says that she rolled through a stop sign and got hit. I wouldn't wish any ill on anybody. I mean, and then shortly after, that's when he became senator. My thing is that a lot of this is, I feel like, has been planned since the damn well near beginning of their whole story. And then this came out not that long ago, and it's like,
well, the other thing is you can't trust a damn thing that comes out of Joe Biden's mouth. The guy lies.
Like Joe Biden's lied about everything.
Yeah. Anytime you hear him say, my daddy used to say, or my daddy does it, you pretty much know whatever comes after is complete bullshit. And, that in and of itself, I mean, the guy was caught literally plagiarizing a speech when he was running for president in 1989? I mean, come on. The guy has lied consecutively since the beginning of, probably further back than we even know. The guy has never stopped lying, and he continues to this day. That gives credit, in my view, to this guy right here, this ex-husband of Jill Biden.
It's it's very out there, and a very wondering of how that's all going to look and all. But it is what it is. And Joe Biden he's made his choices. And I know when we talked about term limits for that. I think they need to do an age limit for the president. I know in the Constitution it says, yes,
the minimum age
you must
is
be
30
years and more to be president. I think they need to have a cutoff age,
like 70 or 72 or something like that.
Yeah, anything above 70, you're too old to serve. You should be in retirement, regardless. I'm not saying that they can't do the job. What I'm saying is that I'm tired of seeing old fucking presidents.
Right. And the thing is, and this is one of my big things, if Trump runs again, he'll be 80.
Yeah. I understand he's going to run again because
And Trump is probably in a lot better shape, even though he's bigger than Joe Biden. He's in better mental shape, better physical shape, but he's still 80.
He is still 80. But the thing is, I think Trump does more. I mean, he's still with it to the point to where, like, he can still do what needs to be done. And he is that kid on the block that goes, yeah, do you really want to push this button? Do you really want to go down this rabbit hole? We could go down this rabbit hole. You're just not going to like how it ends.
Yeah, he's the fuck around and find out person.
He is the fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
He is the true definition of fuck around and find out. Because if you think about it, when the track record, when he was in office, no new wars, because nobody wanted to fuck around.
Right.
Because it was kind of like...
He signed, 2 or 3 peace treaties in the Middle East. He moved...
27. Total of 27.
27.
27.
Dang, I only remember 3 at the very end.
Well, that was the thing, because they were all surrounding. So they all surrounding Iran, where it forced Iran nothing but to play ball. Or it was like, oh, well, then Iran doesn't want to play ball. Well, then now everybody has to come together and like fuck up Iran.
Right.
Question is, does Iran want to go that way?
Well, they have no problem now because we have a potato as a president.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have the Ukrainian and Russian war that is still ongoing. Supposedly, because I swear to God, if this was the Afghanistan war, we would have updates about what the fuck was going on in Afghanistan. I haven't seen really an update about the Ukrainian-Russian war.
Periodically, you'll get the president saying something, and it'll be on Twitter or something like that.
Zelensky is a puppet for show.
Oh, yeah.
Because the thing is that Zelensky was I think a person that was put into power. He wasn't elected. He was
selected.
We're going to select you. I mean, we've got a handful of our own in this world. I mean, Biden was selected because he had no way of winning the election, but somehow he still fucking won it because therefore he was selected. I also forgot to put on there about the Twitter files update. I'll have to get that all together here in a second. But with that being all said, how Joe Biden versus Trump in this situation, I still think that it's going to be one of those. And the best thing is that if you really think about it, Joe Biden just saved fucking Trump from being prosecuted.
Because if they prosecute Trump and not Biden, then everyone knows that there's hypocrisy. And that they're going after political enemies.
Absolutely. This will be a political standoff. And everything will all be known about it.
Right. All right. Let's move on. Because I want to get this kind of a quick episode. So Jim Jordan, I can't open this, so you're gonna have to tell me what's going on with Jim Jordan.
All right. All right. Jim Jordan threatens to issue the subpoena if Biden fails to comply with the document request. So Jim Jordan is now over the Judicial Committee.
Right. Oh, the last time we had no Speaker of the House, now we do.
Oh yeah, we have Speaker. Speaker of House wait till about midnight Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just where I think Lauren Boebert and Mike Gates both just voted present. They didn't even vote. So there was so much wanting to fight on that floor. So now, if we all remember, Nader was originally over the Judicial Committee.
Oh God, that was so awful.
And he just made sure like nothing got like done. He just
him and his gavel shutting up anybody on the Republican side, but yet the Democratic side, they could have big long soliloquies.
Matt Gaetz, I still love it when he trumped Matt Gaetz by entering the contents of the Hunter Biden laptop in the Congress. He's like, he did the unanimous vote where fucking Nader couldn't dismiss it because everybody said, yes, we're going to put that in. And Nader's like, fine, we're going to review it. Yeah, that was interesting. So Jim Jordan is asking Joe Biden to comply with the document request. So they're asking from the National Archives, what are those missing documents?
Right.
So, and the thing is, I understand that the judicial branch is doing their own, special counsel, and it's a Trump appointed judge to make sure that they were like, oh, we're not going after our political opponents. See, we're doing a Republican to go over the special counsel. That I don't know if that's the same, but sure. So he's asking requests for the outstanding documents and information from the Biden administration back on Tuesday. He's trying to get all the stonewalling to quit with that, is because there was a letter addressed to the FBI director, Christopher Wray. He is the most stonewall director. He is just as bad as Comey, if not worse.
Comey, who actually flat out refused to show up and didn't get jailed, like, people on Trump's team who were subpoenaed, didn't show up, and got put in jail.
So from there he wants everything to be complied in full. He sent letters to them. He said if they don't, they're going to start subpoenaing them in for. And that's the greatest thing is the House Judiciary Committee can do this.
Right. They can subpoena anything they want.
And I'm on sidetrack here that what's his name? Kevin McCarthy has already talked about releasing the actual full-on security video of the January 6th. Like, what actually all happened. So that's going to be interesting. But, so in good faith, the letter as follows: they leaked the letter to the media for the reporter to move on at 4 a.m. So the White House purposely took the subpoena about the documents and told the White House, told everybody. And I'm like, Joe Biden has talked about transparency. He ran on transparency. Is he actually being transparent?
No, there's nothing transparent about Biden. None.
I mean,
he also got elected
right?
because he was Uncle Joe, but yet he's nothing like how he portrayed himself in 2020. He just duped a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. So Nader actually made a comment about this. It goes, described as a subcommittee as dangerous and a violation of separation of powers. Jordan, who is expected to chair the panel, is said necessarily to eliminate the appearance in the double standard between how conservative and liberal Americans are treated by the federal government. I think this is going to be great.
Yeah.
I think we're actually going to see the actual conversation that we all want. Because
we all
McCarthy
knew what
got
the
rid
outcome.
of.
Yeah, we all knew what was happening. We
Oh,
knew
yeah.
about them going after these parents. We knew about them going after churches and all that stuff. We want to see what the conversations were that led up to that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely going to be entertaining to see what happens from here on out and all. And but I think this version of the GOP may actually benefit us, because one, there's no more proxy voting. Kevin McCarthy is opening the House. Stated he is opening the House as the people's house for people to come in and observe. So that means, because before the pandemic, you were allowed to go upstairs and watch
my parents
debate.
did that. I did that. Yeah.
Right. They're bringing that back. And I want, and the best thing is like on C-SPAN, because C-SPAN actually has cameras in the house, so you can watch it. Oh, all the House members are on the floor going back and forth. It's like you don't see that anymore, and people forget that's how the House of Representatives has always been.
With the exception that there used to be fighting, which I still think we need to bring back, is cage matches. We need a pit.
I think we should do like draw,
like quick draw.
Quick draw.
No, we need a pit.
No,
quick
with laser
tag.
tag.
Too fast.
With laser tag.
That's still too fast. We need paintball guns.
Paintball. Oh no, those little gel balls. Have you ever seen those?
My son has them. He came
those
home and he's
Orby
all
shooters?
full of welts. Yes.
Yeah, there we go. Fucking
did I tell
Orby
you about
shooters?
me and him playing that over the summer?
No.
Okay, so real quick side story. So we were at our local fair, which is in the podunk middle of nowhere, Michigan. But they had somebody that set up a gel blaster court, where basically they had all these blow up like bunkers and stuff, and gel blasters with 1,000 rounds in it, and it was fully automatic. Well, my son, being 11 years old, went through his 1,000 in no time. He's like, and just unloading, but not even hitting me half the time or most of the time, because he's just unloading. I'm doing like little bursts at a time,
yeah,
like you're supposed to. All of a sudden, he runs out, and I still have like 500 left, and he's running from me, and I am tracking him down like I'm the Terminator, just walking. All of a sudden, he like pops out, and I like just unload on him, and then he runs. He gets done, and he takes his shirt off. He's got all these little welts all over. Looked like an acne outbreak on his back. It was great. But just that fact that it's like an ultimate dad moment when you're like, you're out of ammo because you're not smart enough to conserve it. Now I have all the ammo and you can't do anything to stop me.
Yeah. No. I completely understand on that one. So Where were we?
The People's House.
The People's
Bringing
House.
Yes.
Bringing people back into the house. So, but the best thing is you're going to be able to get to see all these committees. You're going to get to see people on the floor. So it's going to be entertaining to watch. So keep an eye on C-SPAN. I know shit's boring. C-SPAN is not for those that want entertainment, but for those that want to be informed on what your representatives are doing. So we're gonna sidestep because we forgot to do this last week. Twitter files.
Yeah, what's the latest in the Twitter news?
Twitter files. Woo! So, Twitter files 14. The
Matt
Russian
Taubey is back.
Yes. So, the fake tales of the Russian bots and released a memo. So, crucial moment. Long, the Democrats denounced a report of flaws that Trump Russia investigations and boosted by the Russian bots and trolls.
Which
we all
have
know
no reach. Here's the thing. Okay. The Russian bots had such little reach. Like, we have the same reach as those Russian bots. Like, we would have influenced the election as much as those Russian bots.
Oh, yeah. So, and then this one is about, the letter for Adam Schiff about saying how our initial inquiry based on available data it's not identified a significant activity connected to Russia or suspect tweets. So, hey, we told them we are feeding congressional trolls. We told them, hey, there's nothing there, but yet they're going to be like, yeah, there's something there.
Even the Mueller report basically said, yeah, there were some Russian bots. They weren't associated with Trump, and they didn't really have that much reach.
All right. So, and then here's the new news insert where they were going over with the needed for the FISA warrant and everything. And this one is ex-RNC chairman rips Nunes memo for a joke. It is the Onion is mad you're stealing their material. If you don't know what the Onion is, the Onion is just
Onion's
fake.
been around for decades before the internet. Before they were online, they were an actual like fake newspaper. I remember picking them up in Chicago.
They were very funny to read.
Oh yeah, it's satire.
When I did the last show we did, the late night morning show, we had a segment just of the Onion news because it was like they were putting out shit that you're like, man, we all know this isn't real, but man, this sounds like it could have been.
Well, that's the beauty of satire is satire. To do satire correctly, you have to have enough newsworthiness in the articles to make it plausible.
So then Jeffrey Nunes was talking about how this stores classified information. Significantly on January 18th of 18, House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, majority vote House members of the U.S. Representatives to review misleading talking points and memo authored by Republican staffers and selected reference towards the classified information, and the rush decision to make documents available to the full House representative was called quickly by calls of some quarter to release documents to public. So a lot of they knew a lot of this wasn't real, but Schiff was all about wanting to push it out, it seems.
Well, yeah, he was promising stuff every night on MSNBC. And
we have the evidence.
We have the evidence. We know it's going to be huge. It's going to be big. It's going to be a land.
I'm still waiting for the Fauci files to come out. I'm waiting for the Fauci files. The Fauci files have not come out yet. I'm still waiting for those.
Yeah.
How does this mean? Why not? Because I don't know how many times we've gotten like satire comments like, "Oh, you can't do this about fucking COVID. COVID's real." Yeah, I mean, so was all that crap that he said about AIDS, but he took it further than he should have.
Right.
Because
no one was saying AIDS wasn't real, but everything that Fauci said about AIDS didn't really hold true.
absolutely. And then
All right.
I guess we're coming on to.
Well,
Sure.
now we're on to the DNA, Declaration of North America.
All right, so a lot of people I've watched when this first came out, because this came out in between location of Joe Biden's missing documents.
So this is released from the White House on January 10th.
You want to go over it, or should I?
You can.
All right.
So my throat is hurting me, so I'm trying to not talk as much as I normally do.
So, I believe there's also a video too. Hold that. So we'll just get the video going here, or getting it started at least. So there was a nice meeting between the minds of the United States, Canada, and Mexico about trying to come together on a handful of things.
They wanted a kumbaya moment.
Basically. So this is them going to explain it. Oh, turn on the sound here.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Kudlow. I'm Larry Kudlow. So there's a war going on along the U.S. southern border with Mexico. It's a war over American sovereign territory. It's a war that's undermining American laws. It's a war about drugs, especially fentanyl. It's a war about sex trafficking. It's a war with Mexican cartels. It's also a war against the many peaceful towns and cities along the border. And it's a war against working folks and the economy. But you wouldn't know there's a war going on based on Joe Biden's trip to El Paso, Texas, or his Mexico City meeting with Mexico's President Obrador and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. In order to win a war, you have to fight. But Biden won't fight. In fact, none of them want to fight. Take it from the president himself. Here he is in Mexico City yesterday.
This has been the greatest migration in human history around the world, as well as in this.
Hang on.
What's your definition of greatest?
My thing is that we should not have we have an open border. It needs to be shut. I mean, yes, asylum seekers and everything, they go through the proper channels. That's the thing. No one does that.
This hemisphere, trying to make it easier for people to get here, opening up the capacity to get here.
Really? Making it easier, opening the capacity. All right, well, the White House released what they're calling a Declaration of North America. This is at the conclusion of the 10th North American Leaders Summit. They've created 6 pillars, allegedly to maintain regional security. Now, here are the orders of these pillars. First pillar, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Second pillar, climate change and environment. Third pillar, competitiveness. And then maybe the fourth pillar, migration and development. Migration, fourth. But wait a minute. Even at fourth place, migration development doesn't mean what you might hope it means. They're talking about welcoming record numbers of migrants and refugees. They're talking about promoting migrant and refugee integration. They're talking about protection for them, more asylum capacity, expanding and promoting regular pathways, and then collaborating to counter xenophobia and discrimination. What? You think I'm making this stuff up? I'm not. I'm reading this from the White House release. This is the official stuff. Quote, now more than ever, we need to identify and address the root causes of irregular migration and forced displacement. Really? Irregular migration. It's got to be a typo, right? What they mean is illegal migration. And the root cause of illegal migration is a failure to secure our American border. That's the root cause. Now, by the way, none of this means that Americans should be against legal immigration or merit-based immigration or speaking English and knowing a little bit about American history immigration or people coming here who can add value to our businesses, our workplaces, and our economy. We need much more of that, legal migration. But that would take congressional action, and that never seems to get done. But what's going down the border is strictly illegal. It is a war. But the Bidens won't fight the war. Of course, the numbers are well known. In 2020, Donald Trump's last year in office, illegal border encounters were running less than 40,000 this.
All right. So.
No, but that's a good point. Trump was averaging about 40,000 illegal encounters. That doesn't count the amount of people that got through that weren't encountered, which they assume to be higher.
Yeah.
And then it jumps up to like, what was it on there? 170,000?
173,000.
173,000 in 2021, and then 222,000 in 2022. Again, you assume more than double that were not encountered. That's just the encounters, the people we caught.
So what a lot of people were taking about this was that the United States, Mexico, and Canada were going to become one country when the way it is written, that we are going to become North America as one. No. So there is a pact between all three countries. We all work together. And that's what this plan is, to simplify this a little bit differently. But yeah, you're right. We need to figure out why people are coming.
I can tell you one of the reasons is because they know nothing will happen to them when they get here.
You do realize we're the only country in the world, fucking world, that does this.
Right.
You can't go to Mexico and do what you're doing here. You got to apply for citizenship. If you don't get it, you're getting deported.
Right. You do that in any European country, Canada, it doesn't matter.
Australia? See, Australia is much different than you really think. Same thing with New Zealand. Not only do you have to have work, you have to know somebody there to sponsor you.
Well, and even in most other countries, you actually have to tell why you would be beneficial to the country.
Yep.
Like, hey, I'm a doctor, or I'm an engineer, or, like, hey, I'm going to make the country better because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
The U.S., now, granted, when my grandparents came, they were poor. They came and they basically got shuttled into like Hungarian town, Polish town. But they still came through Ellis Island. They still got, like, we did a genealogy thing, and you could go back and actually see their signatures online. And I bet if I went to Ellis Island, I could find it and actually see the signatures of them when they came, right to the point that they changed the pronunciation of our name, of our last name, and made it the soft G into a hard G because it sounded more American, English. Didn't sound as Hungarian.
But that is what it is. But it is definitely something to keep an eye on, because you have to remember, It'd become every time when if you just have to look at history. History is the true teacher of how our world is going to become. Because this happens every time a Democratic president is in office. They just want to. And if you want to sit there and say, "Oh, Trump had cages at the border," you have to remember one thing: Obama built those cages.
Right.
That is Obama's policy.
And it was because of the Ninth Circuit Court that he had to separate families.
Yes. So you have to remember Trump was following the law of the land at that moment. So, I mean, you have to remember Obama and Biden did it first. That's end of that story. So the last thing but not least is that we're gonna run out of money by Thursday.
Yeah. So the House GOP and Biden, they refuse to budge on the debt ceiling. So, okay, so here's a quick armchair of the debt ceiling. About every few years, we hit the debt ceiling. The debt ceiling, think about it in your house, is basically you have 5 credit cards and all of them credit cards are maxed out at $10,000 a piece. So you're at a debt ceiling of $50,000. Now, rather than paying down your debt because you can't get more than $50,000, basically what it is you go to the banks because the banks aren't going to tell you no. And you say, you know what? Rather than paying off this $50,000 in debt that we have, we're going to take another 5 credit cards out so that we have a higher debt ceiling. We're allowed more debt in our household. Therefore, we're not running out of money because we're allowed to borrow more money.
Correct.
That's basically it.
So we're going to hear what KGP has to say about the debt ceiling.
Debt limit. Republicans want to cut spending as part of a debt limit deal. Is the president willing to cut any spending as part of a debt limit deal? And what would he be willing to cut?
Look, as you've heard us say before, we will not be doing any negotiation over the debt ceiling. But broadly speaking, at the start of this new Congress, we're reaching out to all the members through the Office of Leg Affairs, making sure that we have those connections with those new members, as I just stated. But I want to say, like in the past, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, there's been a bipartisan cooperation when it comes to lifting the debt ceiling, and that's how it should be. That's how it should continue. It's not and should not be a political football. This is not political gamemanship, and this should be done without conditions, and that's how we see this process moving forward.
When you say that there'll be no negotiating, you'll not negotiate anything involving spending?
What we're saying is that this should be done without conditions. In the past, we have seen this. We have seen both Republicans and Democrats come together to deal with this issue. It is one of the basic items that Congress has to deal with, and it should be done without conditions. So there's going to be no negotiation over it. This is something that must get done.
Do you have a position on how high the debt limit should be raised?
I don't have a position on that. What I can say more broadly, what I'm saying is that more broadly speaking, not going to get into the specifics of that. What I can say is that we believe when it comes to the debt limit, it has been done in a bipartisan way over the years and decades, and it should be done in a bipartisan way, and it should be done without conditions. That is important here.
Something that's
okay.
Yeah. So
my thing is,
I think they should let it crash. I think we should.
So what they always say is, well, there's going to be a government shutdown. Big deal if there's a government shutdown. I'm always for a government shutdown. The thing is I think the Republicans are going to cave. We don't have enough of a majority that it only takes a few people to swing, and yeah. Unfortunately, as much as the Republicans like to talk a big game, when push comes to shove, they cave almost every time.
It happens. So
yeah. Now, that's where sometimes mine and your job here as commentators is easier than theirs, because we can talk specifically from ideology. They have to talk both from ideology and the fact that they have to do something, plus they're responsible for their constituents. They have a lot of other things to juggle with their decisions. I do not envy any Republican that has to make this decision. They're going to cave, though. And that's my prediction. Maybe not Thursday. We might get a few extra days, but eventually they'll cave.
All right. So I would say this is it. We'll play a couple videos. I got
two quick video clips, nothing long, and then we'll.
I got one from Project Veritas that just got dropped.
Oh, you want to play that first?
I'll play that one first. So we all love Project Veritas. Project Veritas really knows how to hit the nail on the button.
It's a teaching lab.
This is Quentin Bostic, PhD, content manager, the teaching lab.
If you don't say the word critical race theory, you can technically teach it. And it's amazing how you've gotten schools to purchase a curriculum and they don't even know what's going on. I always have a good salesman, but I'm also an evil salesman. Like, so bad. So the public schools have the state funding, right? They do. So the state is basically paying for your curriculum without knowing what's in it. Does your curriculum have critical race theory in it? Yep. And the government doesn't know. And they have no clue. And I'm like, this is good. Well, in order to make sure it's under the radar, how do you? This is DEI work. Schools in Georgia have your curriculum. Two districts, actually. Cook County and then Cobb County. Wait, your curriculum that is in the schools here in Georgia is just kindergarten? It's one of here just kindergarten, yeah. That's so cool. So your CRT stuff is kindergarten. It's so cool. He's such an idiot. Like, his wife is lots of stuff in education here. Was a former teacher. What do you think she would do if she found out? Oh, I would get nailed. What about those parents who might push back after doing it? Who cares? I'm not part of the system. I'm not gonna lose my job over it. Worst that's gonna happen is y'all gonna be upset, and I shared some knowledge. That's the worst that's gonna happen. This is how we do it.
Holy shit! Wow.
Yeah. Again,
anybody that
this is
says
why you need to
CRT
pay
is not
attention to
being
what
taught.
your kids learn in school.
Yeah. All right. So for mine, I don't know if I played this one last week, but this is biological sex is fake. Did I play this last week?
No.
Okay.
And I hate this person so much with a passion.
This is a guy. He's got facial hair. He looks like a guy. Just because he puts makeup on doesn't make any difference.
Biological sex is fake. Yes, we all know that gender roles are fake, but do not say to a trans person, biologically male, born female, male-bodied. No. There is no biological criteria for gender that is both universal and a binary in human beings. Where does that leave us? Free.
Oh my God. Ugh, I almost threw up there. I really wish I had the clip from Kindergarten Cop that boys have a penis and girls have a vagina. I just completely blew his whole thing. If you have a penis, you're a dude. If you have a vagina, you're a chick.
10,000
there
years
is no
from now,
such
we're
thing as an intersex person that has either both or neither of them. There are intersex people that may have, like, fallopian tubes or may have gonads, or if they're female, still undescended or something, but they still have a vagina.
You know what's sad is that you gotta think about in like 100 years from now, they're gonna look back on this time and like, what the fuck were they all smoking? Some of them were smoking some shit.
No, in 100 years, they're going to dig up that person's bones and look at him and go, that's a dude. Because your bones tell you you're a dude. My wife does x-rays. She can look at an x-ray and tell if it's a dude or a chick.
All right.
Okay.
Do you have one more? Or?
One more. This is advice for men, or explaining to women, men. Yeah, there we go.
And why guys need time to think before they answer your question.
I love her.
Well, first we have to realize you asked a question. Then we have to make sure we understood the question. Then we have to make sure the question's not a trap. Then we start formulating an answer. Then we have to figure out the best words to deliver the answer. Then we have pros and cons of delivering the answer. Then we reevaluate, make sure the question's not a trap again, and then we deliver the answer. It's exhausting.
Or we simply forget. Yeah. Emily King is...
She's awesome.
Yes.
All
right.
I wish I could have dated her. No, I'm just gonna say, for all the guys out there, when in doubt, it's a trap.
It's always a trap.
It's always a trap.
So that's it for this evening, everybody. This is episode 60, and we're gonna sign off from here. Have a good night. This is Fire Talk Radio Podcast, and you can check us out on firetalkradio.com. You can email us at firetalknetwork@gmail.com. You can send us a voicemail at 814-380-9820. You can always check us out live on YouTube and Rumble. Hit the like and subscribe button to find out when we go live, and subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting streaming platform.
Only count to four. We can only count to four. We can only count to four.